Andrew Hastie's really stepped up his social media presence lately. I'm starting to wonder if he's in the middle of a career transition or something. Full-time content creator, part-time MP maybe. I mean to say, it has been reported that he's set up a TV studio in his office so that he can pump out the slick social media content that the Readers and the Rowans of the world gobble down. One of his more recent offerings is a 2-minute tribute to the Australian automotive industry. Really tickles the old nostalgia bone. So let's take a look.
I don't know about you, but I have to remind myself that we used to make cars in this country.
Nah, I remember. Look, there are a whole host of reasons why auto manufacturers shut up shop in Australia, but we should never forget that it was Tony Abbott, a guy that Hastie seems to be borrowing quite a bit from lately, that hammered home the final nail in the Australian auto industry's coffin. I think that's a fact that's well worth keeping in the back of your mind throughout this whole little video.
Check this car out. It's a beautiful piece of craftsmanship. It's horsepower, it's heritage, it's grit, and it's an Aussie car made by Aussie workers for the Australian people.
Look, it may have been all those things, but it was also pretty expensive. While Hastie looks back on the olden days with rose-coloured glasses, the reality is that, in relative terms, cars were a lot more expensive when this GT was rolling off the production line than they are today, particularly when measured against annual income. In the late 60s, early 70s, competition within the Australian market was fairly restricted. Things like tariffs and import quotas created significant barriers to competition, which ultimately meant the consumer paid more.
We used to make complex things in this country. In fact, with cars, we used to say, race them on a Sunday, sell them on a Monday. And it wasn't just a slogan, it was a way of life.
Did we though? Want to take a guess where that phrase comes from? Like most of what Andrew Hastie and his backers are selling, it originated in the United States. It was a marketing slogan from the 50s and 60s.
Competition drove innovation in our car industry. But that's all gone. Today we're being told that we can forget our past forever, that we can no longer build physical things of value in this country.
Who is actually telling us this? It was at this point of the video I was starting to wonder where Hastie was headed. He's a member of the Liberal Party still, right? The Liberal Party, the blue team, the team that are all about the free market, deregulation, privatisation, lower taxes and free trade to drive economic growth. If it's government intervention he's looking for, then I'm guessing he's a massive supporter of Labor's Future Made in Australia strategy.
And both the Liberals and Labor have let us down in the past by letting the car industry disappear from our shores.
To be honest, the two major parties do have to share some of the blame for auto manufacturers packing up and leaving Australia. If you want to get deep into it, Labor started easing tariffs in the 80s and continued down that path into the 90s. Then the coalition took things further by signing various free trade agreements. Essentially, it was both of those things that signalled the beginning of the end for the auto industry in Australia. But it was Tony Abbott and Joe Hockey that really accelerated the decline of auto manufacturing in Australia when they ended the subsidies that the government had been providing the Australian auto industry.
And now Anthony Albanese and Labor are trying to cut us off forever from our proud heritage. They want to fill our streets with silent, soulless cars made in China, packed with tech that we didn't design and that we don't control.
Ultimately, it's going to be the market that decides what cars are available out there. I've not seen the government tell me what I can and can't drive.
It's not just about the cars. It's this sense that we've lost something, that we're now just helpless consumers. The Australian people are at our best when we unlock our innate God-given drive to design and build complex things like cars. We don't do that anymore. We're a nation of flat white makers when we could be making beautiful cars like this again. And in order to do that, we need cheap energy.
Right, okay. So this is what it's really about then, net zero. Net zero, remember, being a commitment made by the former coalition government, a government Hastie was a part of before he turned content creator. So here's a reality check. When automotive manufacturing left our shores, it had nothing to do with whether or not manufacturers were drawing electricity from woke or non-woke sources. When the automakers left Australia, they were reliant on the coal and gas that Hastie's backers want us to rely on well into the future.
We have an abundance of coal and gas, which Anthony Albanese and Labor are willing to sell to countries like Japan, China and India. The hypocrisy is breathtaking. They'll sell that stuff to countries that burn it, and they'll deny it to the Australian people. They'll deny us an industrial base like this.
This is all a little misleading. the Australian government doesn't technically sell coal or gas. It's private companies like those owned by the Gina Rineharts of the world that are selling our natural resources. The government might get a little kickback via taxes and royalties, but as we've previously established, the government's collecting nowhere near enough there. If Hastie is actually talking about taxing these private companies properly, then that's a conversation I think that's worth having. I mean, hey, here's something for Hastie to consider. Had we been taxing coal and gas properly, perhaps Abbott and Hockey might have had enough in the budget to continue subsidising the auto industry in the first place.
So yeah, I'm for Australians. I'm for putting Australians first. I want to see us making complex things because I'm ambitious for my country. And I know many of you are ambitious for your country too.
Australia first. That sounds familiar.
America first.
It's time that we made a decision. What sort of country do we want to be? Do we want to be a country that is deindustrialised and is just effectively a nation of helpless consumers? Or do we want to unlock our energy potential, make the most of our coal, make the most of our gas, and produce things again, build stuff with our hands? If you want that, let's go.
Let's go? Is this a catchphrase? Is that a catchphrase? The obvious point to make here is that throughout all of that, if Hastie wants to bring manufacturing, particularly auto manufacturing, back to Australia, there's no evidence that he has an actual plan. There's plenty of grievance, but not much else. What would he actually do to entice automakers back? Abandon the Liberal Party's free market principles? Introduce Trump-style tariffs? Bring back import restrictions? Throw tons of government subsidies to auto manufacturers? I mean, when he was challenged about his call to bring automakers back to Australia, how did he respond? Apparently I want to resurrect the car industry from the dead. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. I mean, really? You're a politician pushing out content lamenting the loss of the Australian car industry. Maybe it's a bit late to be playing coy.
Do you come with the car?
Oh, you.
Okay, so maybe it's not just about cars. Maybe you just want to see Australia build other complex things. In that case, rather than looking back at a time before you were born, perhaps it's time to embrace innovation and to look toward the future. For example, global investment in clean energy is now double that of fossil fuels. Perhaps that's an opportunity worth embracing. Just a thought. If it's about energy cost, why not embrace what experts point to as the cheapest form of power? As a recent report has found, if we lived in the world that Andrew Hastie would have for us, relying solely on coal and gas instead of pursuing renewable energy, the cost of generating electricity would be up to 50% higher today. Look, I doubt that Hastie or any of his backers truly believe that dumping net zero is going to solve any of the problems that led to automakers abandoning Australia a decade ago. This is just, I don't know, performance art, cosplay, curated grievance. I really don't know how to describe it. What I do know is that unless Hastie and his friends put forward alternative policy, then this is all just white noise.
A major blow to Liberal leader Susan Lee this morning, with Andrew Hastie quitting the front bench as he takes a stand on immigration.
And he quit? Wow.